Well, it just got good, and it's gonna get better. We have our next speaker. He goes by the name Cool T. He's real cool, but he brings some power. So, Cool T, you up, man?
Hey, hey. What's up, y'all? Dang, this is nice having a little microphone. Shoot. Wish I had one of these when I was teaching these kids, man. I'm telling you. All right. So, I want to start this off by speaking about the day that I was asked to come up here and talk. All right. So, I was approached to come up here and speak. It was like, hey, we want you and Lauren to come up and speak and let us know if you have any questions, if you have anything that you come up with any ideas and you just want to run past, anything like that, right? And so I said, all right, cool. In my mind, I'm thinking, all right, I'm gonna go home, I'm gonna think about it, and within like the next day or so, I'm gonna have something cooked up. I'm gonna be in the kitchen, be shoving with. And that one day turned into two. That 2 days turned into three. And next thing we know, or next thing I know anyway, it's that following Sunday, and I'm sitting here and I'm like, I ain't got no ideas. I don't know what I'm talking about, right? And then that Sunday turns into Monday, which then turns into Tuesday. And next thing we know, it's Friday night. And I'm sitting there like, dang, I still don't have any idea what I'm going to talk about. Friday night rolls over into Saturday. I'm spending the entire day Saturday thinking about different things. It takes me until Saturday night, last night, to really nail something down. And it's all because, so I was talking to my dad. No. I was talking to my dad, and he brought up a keyword that has been important in my throughout my entire life: distractions. Right? Distractions. And we were having this talk, we were having this dialogue about things that distract us from God, right? And it hit me. This whole 2 weeks. Reason why I haven't been able to come up with anything, I've been distracted. Like, it seems obvious, but when you really think about it, sit back and think about it, you're like, dang. A lot of these distractions are things that come in the form of stuff that you wouldn't really initially think of as a distraction, right? So here's how I'm gonna break it down. I'm gonna break it down into three different categories, right? I'm gonna break it down into the first category that I have called junk food, all right? Then we got our second category called life. And the third category is the one that's gonna get you. So I'm gonna say that one for the end, right? So let's start with category one. Category one is junk food, right? What do we know about junk food, right? It tastes good, right? What else do we know about junk food? It's not good for you, at least in large increments, right? When we overindulge. So, what do I mean by junk food as a distraction from God? I don't mean you sitting there eating potato chips while in the middle of your prayer and you like, Lord, thank you for the. No, I don't. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is those things that we use every day, like our phones, video games, TV and movies, right? Friends, right? All of those things can be good for us in the short term, right? Or can be good for us in moderation. I like that word, moderation. Sound good to say, feel good coming out the mouth. Moderation, right? All of those things are good when you don't overindulge, right? The four things that I listed: phone, video games, friends, and TV and movies. If I didn't have those in my life, I would not be the man that you see here today. I promise you. I would be a completely different person, wouldn't have the same sense of style, same sense of self. I learned so much from the games that I play, from the things that I watch, from the people that I surround myself with. Right. But it's when we let our phone and our desire to be on our phone override our desire to spend time with God. When you wake up first thing in the morning and the first thing you do, let's see what's going on Instagram. What Twitter talking about? Oh, I ain't know that. Celebrity news, you know? When that's a perfect time to start your conversation with God, right? Right. So that would be the equivalent of waking up next to somebody. Y'all both wake up at the same time. Y'all look over, see each other, and instead of having a conversation, instead of starting a dialogue, instead of saying good morning, how was your sleep? You ready for the day? You reach over, grab your phone, and don't say anything. You know? It's the same thing with the video games and the TV, right? You spend all your time playing a game. You spend all your time watching TV as sort of an escape from the world, right? When you can talk to God, right? And you can have Him help you create a world that you don't need an escape from. Y'all see what I'm talking? Hey, listen to me now. I'm gonna tell you something good. All right. and it's the same thing with our friends, right? You ever had that moment where your parents invite you to go do something, but your friends invited you to do something on that same day? And you say, you know, I see my parents every day. I live in the house with them. They not gonna miss me for real, you know? But my friends, like, you know, I see them every day too, but yeah, I'm gonna go hang out with them. That's the same sort of approach that we take when it comes to God, right? So we need to have sort of a mindset shift, a mindset switch, right? The phone, the video games, the friends, all of that is gonna be there. You got plenty of time. Plenty of time, right? And you have plenty of time to get right with God and talk to God and everything like that. But let me tell you something. The consequences of, not indulging in the junk food versus the consequence of not having a relationship with God, if you really want to get down to it and weigh those options, I think you'll find this one over here outweighs it by a million times, right? So that's our first category, right? Junk food, right? And that's easy to think of as a distraction, right? We think of those things as a distraction to more important things in our life every day anyway. But let's dip into that second category, the one that I'm calling life. In life, there will be a whole bunch of challenges, stressors, and even things that you might not even think of as a distraction that can pull you away from God, right? Things like bills, taxes, going to school every day, going to work every day, right? And you might think, oh, I'm staying on top of all this stuff. I'm doing everything that I need to do. I'm putting myself into my studies. I'm really putting my all into my work. And that's great. That's fantastic. Have you talked to God today though? Or have you been so busy worrying about all of these earthly things that you have completely neglected your heavenly Father, right? So those are things that you think of as like, man, that's important. I gotta go to work. I gotta go to school. I gotta pay these bills. But again, I ask you, what's the consequence of not paying the bills? What's the consequence of not going to school, not going to work, right? You're like, those are some heavy consequences. I could lose my house. I could lose my job. I could fail out of school, right? That means that I don't get the career I wanted. That means I'm not set up for life the way I want to be. That means X, Y, and Z, da 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 da, right? But then there's the consequence. There's the consequence of not having that relationship with God, right? You think about losing your job, right? You can get another job. You think about losing your place to live. You can get another place to live. You think about failing out of school. Guess what? You might have flunked out of this one, but there's hundreds of thousands of them all over the place, all over the country. You can start again. It's never too late. But can you do any of that without God? Come on, somebody. So, right. So we've covered the junk food, the things that we're like, okay, that makes sense, how that's a distraction. We covered life, where we're like, man, but is that really a distraction? You know, I'm just taking care of business, doing what I got to do. But yes, it can be if you overindulge. Now we're going to talk about one. Y'all might not like me for this one. I'm telling you. This third category, I'm titling blessings. Have Now this is okay. Now this might be a relatable um, situation. Have you ever asked God for something so much? You know what? Matter of fact, let's even take God out the situation. Let's take God out the situation, right? Have you ever asked for something, right? You asked for a dog. Really? No, for real. You asked for a dog. And you've been asking for this dog, asking for this dog, asking for this dog, right? Every single day, your mind has been on this dog. And then Christmas time come around. You sitting there at the tree, at the door, you hear bark, 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 bark. You're like, man, who dog is that? You open up the door, dog run in. And Merry Christmas, it's your dog. Right? You've been asking for this dog. You're excited. You're like, oh, I got the dog. I got the dog dance. Oh, I got the dog. Right? And then a week later, every time that dog come around, man, move. Your mama asks you, did you feed the dog today? Oh, I forgot. Can you take the dog out? You playing the game? I guess. You've been asking for this dog. Every day you've been in your parents' face talking about, can I get a dog? I want the dog. Let me get the dog, right? And then you get the dog, and now all of a sudden you don't want the dog. That's the same thing that we do with God. That's the same thing we do with God. We sit there and we ask God, day in and day out, Lord, bless me with this house. Lord, bless me with this car. Lord, bless me with this, with that, with the Prada shoes and the Lamborghini. Lord, bless me with all of this stuff. Then you get it. You get it, and one of two things happens. You forget about it because you got it, you feel like I ain't really have to work for it, so it don't really mean too much to me. Or you let that thing that God blessed you with, mind you, now this is your God. Now this is where you spend all of your time. This is what you worship. You spend every day outside washing that car. Every time you go somewhere, you getting more gas. You sitting there thinking, oh man, I gotta go to work extra hard. I gotta do all of this. I gotta X, Y, and Z, so I can make sure I pay for this car, so I can make sure I keep this car. And you forget about the person who gave it to you in the first place. Does that make sense? How can somebody give you a gift? You take the gift and you say, this is a fantastic gift. Thank you for it. And then all they ask for in return is a phone call. They ask for a thank you card. I know sometimes we don't like writing them thank you cards. I know. During Christmas time. And you got all the time in the world. You got your gift. But you won't even spend 5 minutes on the phone saying, thank you. I really appreciate you. Or writing a card that says, thank you. I'm going to use it. I'm going to love it. Everything like that, right? That's all God is asking for. That's it. He's asking for 5 minutes of your time every day. If you can dedicate at least 5 minutes of your time, he will be satisfied. You know why? Because he wants to talk to us. He wants to have a relationship with us. Right? These blessings, these gifts, they are all a result of God having that desire to be in our lives and to enrich our lives. But if every time we get something, we sitting there not ungrateful, but forgetful and forgetting who gave it to us in the first place, and to give back in the way of just spending some time with him, now we mixed up. Now we messed up, right? And it goes back again to those consequences. You could think, oh, if I don't do this, if I don't take care of this gift, if I don't X, Y, and Z, I'm going to lose it, right? But if you don't spend time with God, it keeps going back to it, right? Them consequences. They'll get you every time. So, am I asking everybody in here to completely change your ways and think a whole new, different way right now, starting right at this moment? No, because I know that's not how it works. But I am saying, let's be a little bit more mindful, y'all. It all starts up here and in here. This is where we feel it, and right here, this is where we think and say, all right, I'm going to spend some time with God. Phone, put it away. Video games, turn them off. Friends, I'll see y'all later. Bills, they still gonna be there when you get back. hmm Can't get rid of them. So they'll be there. They ain't going nowhere. As a matter of fact, they're coming back next month. So, ain't going nowhere. All your other responsibilities, again, they ain't going nowhere. All right? That job, you got to go back to it again tomorrow. School, you got to go back to it again tomorrow. Right? You got plenty of time to focus on that stuff. The blessings, right? If God gave it to you, it's there. It's there, and it's gonna stay there. It's all right to take a second and take your eyes off of the blessing and bring them back to the person who gave them to you, right? So, in closing, I've always wanted to say that. That sounds nice. In closing, we just need to be more mindful and to think about the person who gave us every single thing that we use to distract ourselves from him. That's all I got for you.